20% of the European emissions, CO2 emissions of the European Union come from road transport. So it's important that we reduce that CO2 emissions. Second, also cars do emit other pollutants, so it is important to reduce that as well. But also we are very dependent on fossil fuels. For example, now in the Ukraine war, we're very dependent on Russian imports. Also with this file, we are trying to be less dependent on fossil fuels because future generation cars will not use fossil fuels anymore. And last but absolutely not least, also for consumers there's a benefit because the price of running a zero emission car, for example electric, is much cheaper at the moment than for example running your car on petrol. The total cost of ownership of a zero emission car is already more beneficial in some countries compared to a petrol car. And in time that will only be more beneficial. So at the moment it's already cheaper to run your car on electricity. The maintenance cost, for example, for an electric car is lower than a petrol car. The only thing that is still a problem for a lot of people is the high purchasing price of a new zero-emission cars, for example, an electric car. With this file, we really try to reduce the purchasing price because we stimulate innovation, and also we want to create, as soon as possible, a second-hand market and a third-hand market for zero-emission cars. So that zero-emission cars are not only for rich people, but for everybody. In order to stimulate innovation, one essential part is needed, and that's clarity. And that's what we're giving with this legislation, that from 2035 onwards, it's not allowed to put on the market cars that emit CO2 or other pollutants. From 2035, only zero-emission cars can be placed on the market. And in that way, we set a clear horizon for car manufacturers and a clear path of innovation to make the current zero-emission cars that we have now even more cheaper and better. Altijd weer het herhalen en wat ik vooral lastig vind is zero-emission cars, electric cars, of dat duidelijk is.
Ja. Toch, we hebben straks nog meer.